Hello everyone, we are Group A3. I am Zhang Youting, Lian Zhang from Department of Architecture, and my partner is Xu Wanxian, Vina Xu from Department of Economics. Our topic is artificial womb. Here are the 5 essential words we are sharing with you. The first one, commodification. The second one, tyranny. The third one, inevitably. The fourth one, ectogenesis. The last one, radical. Our presentation is divided into 3 parts. The first part is an introduction to technological development. The second part is the discussion of moral issues. Then will be the conclusion in the end. Now I am going to give the introduction of artificial womb technology development. As early as the novel Brave New World in 1932, the author Aldous Huxley described a world in which embryos were fertilized in test tubes, arranged chemically from alpha. Those play the most important role in society, to Abshon, who are slaves working in crematoriums from burning human remains, and then matured in a hatchery. Huxley's vision is so controversial, radical, and influential that even today, any technology that supports the life of a fetus outside the womb is almost inevitably linked to his dystopia. However, the biotechnology of the 20th century is in such a revolutionary rapid development. The artificial womb is no longer just a symbol of abandoning evolutionary history. More and more fantasy creations conceive the artificial womb as the foundation of the future world. The first extended discussion of artificial wombs was given in a lecture in 1923 by an English biologist called J.B.S. Holden. Holden was invited to give a lecture at the Society. The talk was entitled Daedalus, or Science and the Future. Was written from the perspective of a student in 2073, writing about evidences in biology of the preceding 150 years. In the world, this essay describes, by the turn of the millennium, humans have stopped procreating with the former instinctive cycle altogether, which in turn allows for a more rational reproductive process, which Holden called ectogenesis, meaning the complete gestation of a fetus outside of the body. Comes to the 50s and 60s, scientists attempt with little success to create artificial wombs for lambs. Until the 80s, it was then that researchers in Tokyo began to achieving promising results in their artificial womb experiments with goats. Led by Dr. Yoshinori Kuwabara of Juntendo University, this work resulted in 1997 in the announcement that a 17-week-old goat fetus removed from its mother's uterus has survived for 3 weeks in an artificial womb. The technique, called extrauterine fetal incubation, involved placing the goat fetus in a plastic container of warmed amniotic-like fluid, where it was supplied with nutrients through the tube inserted in its umbilical cord. Advances in neonatology may also lay the groundwork for the eventual creation of artificial wombs. It is already possible to save a child born during the early part of the second trimester of pregnancy and weighing only 2 pounds. Research on liquid ventilation offers hope for treating premature infants by mimicking the fluid found in the lungs in utero. Isolators, the technologically sophisticated incubators that fill the neonatal intensive care units of major hospitals, are, one might say, a cruder version of an artificial womb. Now we will move on to the second part. I'm going to forward it to Vina. Thank you.
Thanks, Leon, for the wonderful introduction. Next, let me talk to you about the moral issue of artificial womb. What moral concern might occur if humans all use artificial wombs to reproduce? Let me discuss the pros and cons of the arguments one by one. So, let's start from the perspective of supporters. First, for those unable to carry their own child, artificial wombs would provide an alternative to surrogacy. This technology can help women who have suffered multiple miscarriages due to problems with embryo implantation, or women who have had hysterectomies due to uterine cancer. Second, freeing of women from the tyranny of their reproductive biology. Women will be liberated from the need to nurture their children. No longer play mothers, no longer bend their knees, no longer be tied to housework, and no longer be excluded from public affairs. To view this way, artificial wombs are merely another step in the ongoing advance of human reproductive technologies and women's social equality. They would both expand the range of reproductive choices and make the differences between men and women matters to technological convention rather than biological nature. As for why do opponents wants the embryo to be housed in its mother, one of the reasons is that it creates an innate connection between the child and the mother. It is a way for protecting the child by giving him a belonginghood to someone who will care. Once we put him in a machine, which might happen in the future, we create a completely atomized and defenseless creature, and that's open the way to all kinds of tyrannous social control and lack of autonomy, which we would not want. Also, we think the physicality and embodied nature of pregnancy is the real and material way for one generation to connect to the next. Without that rootedness in the body, relationship between the generations become more abstract, less feeling-filled. Another reason people oppose artificial wombs is that it could lead to a commodification of the whole process of pregnancy, to the extent that we externalize an experience like pregnancy, it may lead to a view of the growing baby as a thing. Everyone has their own opinions on artificial wombs, and we believe that if this technology succeeds, it will be a major advance in human history. But it is undeniable that it also has a lot of moral doubts, and this technology is still immature in its current state. We feel that the more important thing is that laws and regulations related to artificial reproduction should be formulated and perfected before this technology has taken shape and is widely used. After our brief report, here are a few questions. What is the most difficult breakthrough in artificial wombs technology? Why does an opponent oppose the development of artificial wombs? If possible, would you use an artificial womb to breed the next generation? Why or why not? This is the end of our report. Thank you for your listening.